So who wants the South? Maybe we'll find out Sunday as we welcome in Bryant, McFadden, and Emory Hunt. Well, both the Panthers and the Bucs come in with an identical 7-7 record entering Week 16. But guys, who really has the edge in this NFC South showdown? And I want to begin at the quarterback position. Baker, Bryce, B-Mac, who's your pick?
Ooh, I'm taking shake and bake Baker Mayfield. Now, oddly enough, it's safe to say Baker hasn't been performing up to that MVP caliber that we saw in the month of September and October, but I still like him in this matchup because of the guys he's throwing the football to. And I understand we will attack the pass-catching segment in a minute, but when you talk about Baker Mayfield and knowing how desperate he has to be, knowing how desperate their team has to be, Bryce Young has performed great. He's performed mightily throughout this season, but I'm going to side with Baker Mayfield and give the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the edge.
Yeah, Bryce Young has done a great job, gotten better every season, right? And in every statistical category, has these guys on the precipice of the playoffs, the postseason, perhaps winning a division. But Baker Mayfield's been there, done that, got the T-shirt. I like the way Baker is playing. Early in the season, I was like, he's my MVP. That was like week 6, and then things kind of happened. And now we're at week whatever this is. And so at the end of the year, I think Baker's going to have it, get it done. So I like him right now because he's playing, consistently, in my opinion.
And we're looking at right now, fellas, not what necessarily has happened in the past, but rolling into Week 16, liking what we're seeing out of Baker. But Emory, we got Bucky Irving. We look at Rachaad White leading the backfield for Tampa Bay. Rico Dowdle, though, fellas, he's been manning that backfield out there for Carolina. So who has the edge at the running back position, Emory?
Well, this was tough. This is close, right? You got Rico Dowdle. You have Chuba Hubbard.
Absolutely.
And you have a rookie, Trevor Etienne, who I'm a big fan of out of Georgia that can really go. You saw him handle special teams duties. And if we harken back to when they had that two-headed monster back in the day with Jonathan Stewart,
D'Angelo Williams,
and Fozzie Whitaker, my guy, former University of Texas running back. So I'm going to go Carolina. I like the way this group has handled both the passing game, the running game, and what they're doing now in the return game. Give me those guys. This may be surprise some people. It's close, but I like Carolina.
It's close, but it shouldn't be that big of a surprise because when you talk about the running backs and how they run the football, I'm right there with Emory. I'm siding with Carolina. They essentially got 2 RB1s, but they run the football. The willingness to run the football has really helped the production with Chuba when he's been healthy. And the same can be said for Rico Dowdle, who's on the cusp of surpassing 1,000 yards on the ground. Remember, he was supposed to be the backup to Chuba, but because of an injury, he stepped into the lineup and he never got out because he was outstanding, taking advantage of those set opportunities. And like I said, it's the willingness to run the football. Tampa, they've been inconsistent in running the football, and a lot of that has to do with the inability to open up running lanes with all the injuries they've been dealing with on the offensive line.
I will say this too, Kiana, when we talk about just pure running the football, all of these guys can run. But it's the situational stuff that we've seen from Rico Dowdle that's just been outstanding. Like knowing how to, you saw the clip of him talking with the OC saying, hey, call this play, call this play. They're playing this coverage. And then when they call it, it was going to be potentially the walk-off touchdown that he scored. But we saw that game. So again, the fact that they are playing above the X's and O's, give me the Panthers.
Okay, that's fair. I think my fantasy team is leaning more so towards Tampa Bay, but nonetheless, I'm excited once we get 2 more topics down. But let's take this one at a time.
She laid out.
What Buccaneers fantasy player you got?
I got Bucky Irving. Don't worry.
That's why she led with Bucky.
Hey, let's move on. Let's talk about these pass catchers, fellas. I want to stick with the playmakers on offense. B-Mac, who has the edge in this matchup?
Oh, man, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They got so many options. And now, guess what? They're finally healthy. We saw a glimpse of what this pass-catching crew could do against the Atlanta Falcons. Even though it came in the loss, they put up some nice numbers, led by Mike Evans, the future first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion. He's healthy. We know what he does. What about Emeka Egbuka? He's been the wide receiver 1 because of the injuries, and he stood up in the paint, and he's delivered. Now Chris Godwin is back as well. What about Jalen McMillan? Now he's back. So we saw what they did in the first opportunity coming off the sideline against the Atlanta Falcons. This is a second game, so Jalen McMillan will be more acclimated to the offense. The same can be said for Mike Evans. They will have their football legs under them. So I love this matchup because they have so many quality options to pick and choose from. It's like going into your garage and you got a 5-car garage and you got 5 cars to choose from. You got the Rover, you got the Lambo, you got the Benz. Pick and choose. It depends on the weather, which one you want to drive. And that's the luxury that Baker Mayfield has in terms of throwing the football. Give me Tampa.
Nice little luxury right there.
How about you? So I'm saying, like
who don't want those options, right? We don't want those options.
As a 5-bike garage, you know what I'm saying? Like that. BMX. Like I agree with you, man. And if Cade Otton was healthy, that even enhances their options at the pass catchers. They got depth. And all of those guys you mentioned so eloquently, they score touchdowns. So these are guys that are game breakers. So I can't even front. I don't even have a joke for you guys, but it's the Bucs pass catchers for real.
I think that's just a fair assessment of what we've seen. And then you guys talk about Buko, who is a rookie who is having a fantastic year, looking to follow up on that here in this divisional matchup. But I said this earlier, I want to go back to this O-line topic right here because we talked about this running back group and what they've been able to do, even being able to talk to the coaches and get more production done. So, Emory, when we're looking at both of these O-lines, are we sticking with Carolina here, or do you like more what you're seeing out of Tampa Bay?
I love what I'm seeing out of Tampa Bay, but I'm going with Carolina, and here's why. This is an offensive line that is doing a great job without Robert Hunt from the University of Louisiana, where we just produce offensive linemen, right? And then they're doing it without other talented guys. Chandler Zavala is a guy that they was counting on to be a starter, so they don't have him. But you look at what Aquano has done. You look at what these guys have done around him. Damian Lewis, who came in from the Seattle Seahawks, they have really spearheaded this offense because you can't run the ball if you don't have a good offensive line. And even though they're banged up in terms of missing some of their frontline starters who they had coming into the season, this offensive line has picked up right where they left off. So communicate the Panthers.
It's the Panthers for me because you talked about the injuries. Because Tampa, offensive line-wise, they've been dealing with injuries as well. And we've seen that impact the running game. It hasn't really impacted the running game in Charlotte because the backups have stepped in and they've performed like starters. Over the year, on the ground, over 1,700 yards they have provided for the ball carriers, averaging over 4 yards per carry, 4.4 to be exact. That's winning football. And like I said earlier, the willingness to run the football tells me they trust whoever has been lining up on the offensive line to do what they're supposed to do. And they've done a really good job in protecting their young quarterback in Bryce Young. So quiet as kept, they have been the unsung heroes for their offense when you look at all the production that we've raved about from the Carolina Panthers.
And we saw the Falcons kind of dig in the Bucs, you know what, on that offensive line last week. Falcons D-line was having their way. With that Bucs O-line.
That's right. I think it's invaluable, especially what you mentioned, B-Mac, when you are without some of your starters and your backups come into play and there is no drop-off. Invaluable right there, what they've got going on in Carolina. But meanwhile, B-Mac, let's head to your side of the ball. I want to look at this defensive front seven. Which side are you giving the edge to?
All right, it's been back and forth. This was a very, very tough one for me because both teams have had some issues when it comes to the front seven. But for this matchup, the edge, I got to go with Tampa.
Man.
I got to go with Big Vita Vea. He's the anchor for their defense. Future Hall of Famer Levante David. And their ability to put pressure on opposing quarterbacks with whoever, right, based on scheme or just winning the one-on-one matchups. I like that element. That has been the one issue for Carolina. Right, they're towards the bottom of the league in sacks, sacking quarterbacks. That's not a good stat. So when you talk about that issue, and that has been, they've been better, Tampa, that is, in rushing the passer and sacking the quarterback. And like I said, Vita Vea is one of the best interior defensive line. I'm a big Derek Brown fan, by the way. I love what he's done. But when you talk about Vita Vea and the guys that are surrounding Vita Vea, I got to go with Tampa Bay when it comes to the front seven.
Hassan Reddick in that front. You have Yaya Diaby. He is a monster. So that's going to be a problem for this great offensive line for Carolina. But I'm with you, B-Mac. I like the front seven for Tampa. They do a good job of collapsing around the QB. They don't rush past the quarterback. They rush to, and they collapse, smother, choke y'all like a python. I like the Bucs.
I'm very interested in, one, that we've been on one accord throughout this entire
I know what's going on.
I know what's going on.
But two, we are on two opposite sides when it comes to the O-line and the defensive front seven. I'm going to let this play out for a second, but I might have a follow-up there. But I want to wrap this up talking about the secondary. B-Mac, who are you giving the edge to here?
Well, I could just ask, because you're a San Francisco 49ers fan. And you remember what happened when Carolina played San Francisco, even though it was a loss. But they made life miserable for somebody. And they've been doing that throughout the entire season, led by J.C. Horn. Yes, I think he's a first-team All-Pro. Shouts out to J.C. Horn. He's been balling. But what about his partner in crime? Mike Jackson. He's been balling as well. I mean, when you talk about those two corners, they're ball aware. They attack Wilson like no other. So I love what they do in terms of taking Wilson away and giving it to their offense. And then in the safety side of things, Emory has been outstanding. You know, when we talk about tackling, and being a quality, reliable player in run support, not to mention sound and coverage as well. I mean, they've been playing really, really good football led by the two corners that I mentioned. So I got to go secondary with the Carolina Panthers.
Who J.C. Horn dad is?
Come on, man.
I'm just making sure, man. It's a temper check.
New Orleans Saints.
All right. Now,
Joe Horn.
Just make a show.
Chill out, man.
I'm with him on the secondary.
Okay.
And what I love about this secondary, and I'm a big person on read and react. Read and react, drive on the ball. They do that extremely well. They see it, they're going to get it. They don't wait, they don't hesitate. Let's go get it. And they go get it, turn the ball over. We saw that against all the best quarterbacks this year. We've seen it against Stafford. We saw it against your San Francisco 49ers. But at the end of the day, this is a secondary that can get it done. I like the Panthers.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to my original topic. We're on the same page, which, I mean, it's not a bad thing. It means that this certainly holds
cheating.
true when it comes to these position groups. But B-Mac, I do want to ask you, what's the matchup that you're looking forward to most?
It's the head coaching matchup. Ooh. Dave Canales, Todd Bowles.
Okay.
Because when you talk about this game, it's safe to say it's evenly matched. Two teams that know each other extremely well, even though this is the first time they will play against each other this season. They know each other extremely well. So these are the games you can't trick anyone. You just got to go out, line up, play football. But it's about the adjustments and which coach will decide to go for that fake punt in the critical moments. Which coach would decide to say, you know what, I'm going for two. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So these are the critical matchups. The game within the game, Dave Canales has done a phenomenal job currently with his team being in the position to win this division. And Todd Bowles has been the bully of the division, to say the least, when you talk about owning this NFC South crown. So that's the matchup that I'm watching. Okay. Dave Canales, Todd Bowles.
I will go with Bryce Young versus that defensive front seven of Tampa, because Bryce Young's athleticism and ability to escape the pocket and create second chance opportunities is going to be huge in this ball game. Anytime you face an aggressive style defense, an attack style defense, if you have a mobile quarterback, it's a problem. That's going to cause all kind of issues. So Bryce Young versus his front seven could be the difference in the ball game.
All right, let's wrap this up really quick. I want to ask you guys your game picks in this one. B-Mac, take us first.
I got to go with Tampa Bay.
Okay.
I think they're the more desperate team because of how they lost this past Thursday night. And let's keep it real. When you talk about talent, I think they have a little more talent.
Yeah.
A little more talent, and they have more experience being in this positions. Being in this position they're currently sitting in, it's not necessarily a must-win, but there's a lot at stake. So I'll go with Tampa Bay for my game pick.
I'll go with the Bucs as well, because the initial desperation for Tampa is a little bit more severe. Now, the last game of the season, who knows? But for this week, I go with Tampa.
I think you guys are cheating off each other's pages. We're all on one accord when it comes to this game, but I do think maybe we should add coaching on these lines. I think that'll be a nice little wrench in this one. Well, here's a look at how the Buccaneers have fared this season. They were 6-2 after 8 games, but guys, since then, they've gone just 1-5. That also includes that loss, like B-Mac mentioned, this past Thursday night to the Falcons. They'll now turn their attention to a monster matchup with the Panthers on Sunday.